What really happens during a real estate transaction? Stay tuned. I'll be back. I've got more to share. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Deal Through Michael's Eyes. I work hard to bring a fresh take on real estate and business in general. My name is Michael Rennick, and I am your host for this podcast. I had a 31-year career at General Motors. I retired at the young age of 52, moved right into building my real estate career. These podcasts combine expertise and background from both of those. It's about going deep dive. It's no fluff, no BS. Let's talk about what really happens here. I started out by saying what really happens in a real estate transaction. Well, they're complex. When most people think about buying or selling a home, they picture a for sale sign going up, a few showings, signing some papers, getting the keys. Simple, right? Well, not even close. What actually happens behind the scenes of a real estate transaction would probably surprise you. There's a whole network of moving parts, negotiations, inspections, title checks, appraisals, financing issues, lining up movers, and much, much more. Today, I'm going to take you behind the curtain of what really happens during a real estate deal. I'll break down each of the steps of the process, the common pitfalls, and how great agents, like the ones here at Team Rennick, work tirelessly to protect your time, your money, and your sanity. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home soon, this is an episode you're not going to want to miss. Let's dive in and pull back the curtains. So, let's start before the paperwork, even before the showings, even before the listing goes live. What happens behind the scenes before a real estate deal officially begins? Well, we've got pre-listing inspections, checking for major issues that could kill a deal later on, staging consultations, making the home as attractive as possible for potential buyers, professional photography and videography. This is your first impression online, and it has to be a strong one. Pricing strategy. In today's market, this is so very important. This isn't guesswork. It's based on market analysis, neighborhood comps, and property condition. I provide the detail behind that so we can draw a conclusion together. Pre-approval for a mortgage, if you need to know what you can afford before you start shopping. Market research, understanding what's available in the budget range. An agent consultation, defining your needs, wants, and deal breakers. The last 3 points were for the buyers. We work with both buyers and sellers. It's important that agents are prepared each and every time. Here's the secret. Most real estate deals fall apart because buyers and sellers didn't properly prepare before starting the process. Imagine walking into a marathon without training. That's what happens when people rush into buying or selling without understanding the market, the paperwork, or the financial commitment. A great agent makes sure that this prep work is done because that's what sets the foundation for a successful deal. Let's talk about making or receiving an offer. This is where emotions run high and this strategy really kicks in. For buyers, when making an offer, you need to consider the current market conditions. Are you in a buyer's market or a seller's market? Comparable sales. What if similar homes sold for recently? And seller motivation. Are they in a rush to sell? This can influence how aggressive the offer should be. For sellers, on the other side, receiving an offer means analyzing, is it competitive with the market value? Does the buyer have solid financing? Is it cash or mortgage, and are they pre-approved? And are there contingencies that could delay the derail of the sale? It's not just the highest offer, it's about the strongest, most reliable. And when we talk about an offer, this is a good time to deep dive this for a second. There's 3 prices that are important. There's a price that the seller feels that's important. They've lived in the house. They may have raised their kids, their grandkids. It may be a vacation home, but they have an attachment to that. There's a value they place on that, and nobody has input into that. That's a seller desired price. As importantly, the second circle in this equation is what the buyer is willing to pay. They're looking around. They've got a great agent. They understand the market. There's so much they're willing to pay for that property. Those are the 2 key circles. But the third one, so very crucial into getting a deal done, is one that I own. The first one the seller owns, the second one the buyer owns, the third one I own, and it's called the market analysis. What's the value of the market? If it's a mortgage deal, it has to appraise. If it's a cash deal, the cash buyer doesn't want to overpay for something. So I calculate the market data deal or the level. I show all the data so everyone understands where we're at. When those 3 circles start to converge, they start to come together, that's when we can get a deal done. It's that simple. Here's where, when we go into negotiations, here's where the behind-the-scenes hustle actually happens. A good agent just doesn't relay the offers back and forth. They strategically negotiate on your behalf. I've had deals where negotiations went back and forth for days over closing costs, repairs, or contingency timelines. A good negotiation can save buyers thousands and can put sellers in a stronger position. Let's not forget, timing also matters. A delay in countering an offer could mean losing the deal entirely in a competitive market. So, contract to close. What happens after we sign the contract? Is it done? No, there's a whole lot of work required. Here's where a lot of buyers and sellers think the hard part is over. You've accepted the offer, you've signed the paperwork, and the deal is done. Well, like I said, no. This phase is called contract to close. It's where the real work behind the scenes begins. Here's what's happening after the contract is signed. There's a home inspection. The buyer will schedule an inspection, and any issues found could lead to negotiations or even potentially kill the deal. Appraisal. The lender, if one is involved, needs to confirm that the property is worth what they're lending for. If the appraisal comes in low, you're looking for renegotiations or more money out of the pocket. Cash deals also sometimes require an appraisal. There's nothing wrong with that. Title search. Are there legal claims? Are there liens? Are there boundary disputes tied to the property? Are you buying what you think you're buying? Loan approval process. Even with pre-approval, lenders need to verify everything. All this happens behind the scenes, and if anything goes wrong during these steps, the deal can fall apart even after signing a contract. This is where an experienced real estate agent or broker comes in. He or she has been through this many, many times, and they know how to avoid the pitfalls. Here's what people sometimes catches people off guard during the coming phases. Like I talked about inspections. A cracked foundation or roof issue can stop a deal dead in its track. Low appraisals. If it doesn't meet the appraised value, the bank's not going to loan the money. And title defects. Again, are you buying the property clear, totally free from any encumbrances, if you would? So the final steps before you get the keys, you've been cleared for inspections, the appraisal came back fine, and the title is clear. Now it's time for closing day. But what really happens behind the scenes before the keys get handed over? Well, you've got final loan approval. The lender verifies funds and clears the transaction. Buyers, closing disclosure, buyers receive this document 3 days before closing, outlining final costs and fees. Final walkthrough, very important. Buyers inspect the property one last time to ensure it's in the agreed upon working condition. And closing appointment. This is where all the final paperwork is signed. Funds are transferred and ownership officially begins. But even on closing day, things can go wrong. I've seen deals fall apart over missing documents, wire transfer issues, and last-minute disputes and repairs. That's why you need someone managing every detail that has the experience that's been through all of this. A great agent's job doesn't end until the deal is finally closed. Behind the scenes, we're checking every document, double-checking, triple-checking to make sure it's accurate. We're communicating with lenders, with attorneys, with title companies, and we're resolving any last-minute issues that could delay the deal. Our goal is no surprises at the closing table, whether it's physically sitting at a table or it's a virtual closing where you sign the paperwork online, is we work through everything and we find out what the issues might be. We get them solved before we actually are at the closing table. So, again, what really happens during a real estate transaction? Behind every deal is a team working hard to handle the complexities buyers and sellers never see. The fact that you don't see this means you've got a good agent working for you. From initial prep work to negotiation strategies, inspections, appraisals, closing logistics, every detail matters. And the right agent just doesn't facilitate the process. They protect your investment and guide you through any unexpected twist. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home and you want to work with someone who knows the ins and outs, that has the experience of every phase of the process, give me a call. My direct cell, because I want you to be able to access me when you need me. Not when it's convenient for me. That's not the way it works. It needs to be convenient for you. My personal cell is 941-400-8735. I want to also give my personal thanks for you watching or listening to this podcast, but I've got one favor to ask. Let's continue this conversation. Let's not put a period here. How do we do this the right way? How do we find the right agent for you? What are your expectations?